Deadline. It doesn't surprise anybody after a bye week and recovery from more cancer treatment, which he has completed. Dwayne Haskins remains inactive today unless something dramatic happens before the game. And the reason why is they're still in this NFC East race. They're going to try and win it. Kyle Allen starts. Alex Smith is the backup quarterback. And Dwayne Haskins, by the way, he was not trade deadline. And the Washington football team did not receive any calls, 0 calls, about his availability. And they are playing the New York Giants, whose first-year coach is Joe Judge, who laid down the law on wide receiver Golden Tate this week. Tate, on Monday Night Football on ESPN, caught a touchdown pass late in the game, looked into the cameras, said basically to Keyshawn Johnson, throw me the ball, throw me the damn ball, I think, as he also added. The other thing is that Tate then was told to stay home one day, and when he did come back to practice, he had to play the role of Terry McLaurin, the young receiver with the Washington football team, on the scout team. And then when the Giants took off on a train for this game to Washington, Golden Tate was left home, Adam.
Well, it was a busy week for the Giants on the trade front. Lots of conversation, but not a lot of dealing. They actually got trade inquiries about their kicker, Graham Gano, and they also got multiple inquiries from multiple teams about their tight end, Evan Ingram. He was the guy that they got the most interest on between Golden Tate and Kevin Zeitler and Graham Gano, but they did not want to deal Ingram. They feel like he's still a special talent, and they still want to bring that out of him, which is why they opted not to trade him. Meanwhile, the Carolina Panthers get back running back Christian McCaffrey after a 6-game absence due to a high ankle sprain. And as you yourself said, Mort, he will be able to basically cut into Mike Davis's workload. Mike Davis will have to share with him now that Christian McCaffrey's coming back. The Panthers want to have work for each running back, so it will not be full-on Christian McCaffrey the way it was all of last year in Carolina. They will work him back in along with Mike Davis, and they'll need contributions from both today with the Panthers in Kansas City against the high-powered Chiefs, Sam.
Thanks, guys. Meanwhile, an interesting matchup in Nashville today as both the Bears and the Titans try to get back on track at Nissan Stadium. The Titans have lost 2 straight after starting 5-0 this season. They'll try to rely on Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry to get back on track. Tennessee is averaging the 4th most points per game on offense this season. And the Bears have also lost 2 in a row after starting 5-1 this season. Nick Foles is 2-3 as a starter following the comeback win over the Falcons in his first appearance for Chicago in Week 3. Our Diana Rossini is in Nashville this morning at the stadium with a little bit of news on the Titans. Hi, Diana.
Hi, Sam. Yeah, Titans pass rusher Jadeveon Clowney will not be active in this game. He's been dealing with some knee pain all week long, so he's not going to play in this one against the Bears. And that's actually some really good news for this Bears offensive line, which is really shuffling around here. We've got 2 new starters. We've got 1 player playing in a position he's never played in before. This entire O-line dealing with both injuries and COVID-19. It's something Matt Nagy has been preaching to his team all season long. You better be ready because your name will be called if we have problems. And they've got some problems on that O-line. So what does that mean for Nick Foles in this offense? Well, I talked to some guys on the offense yesterday, and it sounds like they're going to make a little change to the game plan today. Look for them to run the ball more here. The thought is they want to get Nick Foles to get that ball out quicker, but we do know he loves going to Allen Robinson when he does want to throw that ball. Look for Malcolm Butler matching up against him today. Robinson saying Butler's a really tough guy, a really smart football mind, so that's going to be a good one to watch up close. But in terms of the Titans defense, Sam, it is no mystery here. This defense has struggled all season long, but they feel really confident that they can force Nick Foles to make mistakes and expose him right in the middle of the pocket.
Yeah, Diana, I guess that's the question of the game, is how does Nick Foles do against this Titans defense? Rex, when you look at the offense for the Bears right now, what's your assessment of what the issue is?
Oh, that's a great question, but it's everything. I mean, when you look at it, you got Nick Foles. Obviously, I don't want to go into it because people don't think I like Nick Foles. I like Nick Foles as a backup, not as a starter. So we're getting what I expected. But they can't run the football. They don't protect the quarterback very well. And then Nick Foles will throw it into a team meeting. So other than that, they're great. But I'm expecting there's going to be a low-scoring game. This is going to be a low-scoring game. And the reason for it is because of that Bear defense. That Bear defense, I think, is one of the most talented, if not the most talented defense in the National Football League. So that'll give you a reason why it'll be low scoring. The other reason is obvious. It's the Bears offense that we talked about. That's the reason. The Tennessee Titan, you'd heard Diana talk about how they've struggled. And, man, she's not kidding. One of the worst third down defenses I think I've ever seen. So, to me, I mean, come on, Bears. If you're gonna do anything, then let's do it today. If not, bench the guy and go with Mitch Trubisky and see what happens.
Well, you can't today because he's out.
Yeah, right. It doesn't just start there. I mean, Diana said it. The coaches in Chicago are saying it. We got to run the football. There's not a worse running team like to watch than the Chicago Bears. It's like, I don't know if it's like you're almost too creative or not creative enough. But like they got to figure that part out. Nick Foles is best at what? The RPO game. Well, if the R in RPO, the run pass option, if you're not afraid of the run, it's not going to work. For me, Sam, I think the tight end has to show up. Jimmy Graham is a talent. He's a monster of a man. He's 6 foot whatever, but he doesn't play big. Like, he doesn't play big until he gets to the red zone. If I'm the quarterback of the Chicago Bears, I'm going to Jimmy Graham and be like, Jimmy, I've seen your highlight reel. I know what you can do. You got to show up big for us. Like, let's put this team on your back. To me, he has not showed up the way that he can, and I don't think Nick Foles can be what he can be unless the tight end production starts to improve.
Matt, there needs to be tight end production as a blocker, too. Because Jimmy Graham is soft as Charmin.
That's not going to happen.
And that's the truth. And so part of the run game, if your tight end won't block, won't put his face in the fan, you struggle running the football, and that's part of the problem. They want to get this, fancy receiver out there. You got to be competitive in the run game, too. So that's why I don't like that shit.
They're smart enough in Chicago. Sometimes you can be, like, too smart. And it's like sometimes the way to win a game is to just win it up front. Like, win it up front and first and second down with the running game. And if, like, you can change your personnel. There's solutions to be found there. This is a team that's just got to get it turned around, or they're going the wrong way real quick.
But if you got those problems along the offensive line, like Diane is talking about, this is the game for the Tennessee Titan defense to get back on track.
Yes.
Rex, yes, they have struggled getting after the passer. They have no Clowney, third down defense. But if you've got a quarterback in Nick Foles, when he's at his worst is when he's under pressure. And they're telling Diana, I can just hear Vrabel in the meeting room, get him off the spot, get to the spot, pressure up the middle of the pocket. That's what they'll try to do today.
Did you see, we've seen this formula for 2 years from the Tennessee Titans, and everybody's talking about how the offense protects Tannehill, rightfully so, got $100-something million awarded this offseason. But when you look at the Chicago Bears and just listening to Diana, she talking about that maybe the Chicago Bears is going to be able to take a page out of Tennessee Titans. They got a tight end in Graham. They got tight end in Smith in Tennessee. They got Allen Robinson on Chicago. They got A.J. Brown in Tennessee. But there's one missing factor for Chicago Bears that they don't have. And that's a running back like King Henry. Even though they're putting 2 starters out there, they're trying to run the game, Matt, like you said, RPO, take the pressure off of Nick Foles. I think Nick Foles, if he's able to get a run game behind him like he had in Philadelphia, where he was able to show the ball, bring those backers in, then pop it back there. That's the only way I can see a guy like Jimmy Graham getting open in the field. We know he's a beast in the red zone, but the only way I can see Jimmy Graham getting his motor started in the field is for the running game to get open, Nick Foles to show that ball, them backers suck up, be able to get a guy like Jimmy Graham. But I do see the Chicago Bears as trying to transition over to a run offense like the Tennessee Titans, but it's a big game for Chicago.
Nick Foles has been sacked 9 times in the last 2 games. So in order for all of that to happen, you got to go back to what Diana talked about and what you talked about, Teddy. They've got to get some improvement up front on the offensive line. You guys know we try and keep this show fun, especially this year. I feel like we go out of our way to be the escape that we all want in 2020, right? It's just been one of those years where football is like something we need to forget about all the difficulty that's going on in the rest of our lives. But this week at ESPN, it was unavoidable. The reality of what's going on in our country right now hit as a bunch of our teammates, our colleagues, people that mattered so much to all of our success lost their jobs across the company. And most of them were people whose names you wouldn't know if you're watching at home. So maybe you don't hear that name and think, oh, they're not going to be there. But they mattered to those of us who are sitting at this table. And I know especially to you, Teddy.
For us to get here to this process of having this show right now, there's a lot that's behind the scenes, even behind these walls. I mean, the people are talking in our ears. And over the 12 years I've been here as an analyst, guys, I mean, I've worked with a lot of producers, been on a lot of shows, and we lost 2 of our best producers this week. And Coaches made us better